So I went ahead and put the gears in this and in that to show a comparison. First of all, stock P01 Raptor chassis, plastic. Not going to say anything negative about it. It is what it is. It's a plastic chassis. The whole thing, one piece. So it is what it is. The aluminum, amazing upgrade. Beautifully machined. But you can see the offset there. That helps eliminate torque roll, torque twist for the drive shafts. But I wanted to point out, these are for the small drive shafts. So if you're using the stock axles, you have to get two sets of drive shafts, one for the large pinion and then one for the small, and then adapt them together. I am going to say that right now because the stock axles have the large pinion versus these have the same size, the small ones, which are the normal ones for the Jeeps and just about everything else, I think. In the back of the Tundra here, you can see that is the P02 Tundra, and I put the front axle from the stock Raptor in it, and that is the large pinion. So if you're gonna do this, I mean, you're good to go. If you don't want to spend the money to buy these axles, you can get like the Land Rover or the X01 and use those axles. And they have, this is the Jeep rear axle, a little narrow one. They have the small pinion also. So if you get the upgrade chassis and you don't want to spend the money for the axles, which I don't understand why you wouldn't, other than budget, you can just get the little pinion axles and the plastic ones, and they'll work fine. You can see here on the stock one, large gear here. I wanted to say you can swap that gear in the stock chassis to use the X01 axles or the Land Rover, the Pajero, just about any of them. Well, any of them really. If you really wanted to spend the time, you could even put the M01 or M02 axles underneath this. It can be done. Where there's a will, there's a way. On my carbon fiber chassis one, my F100 that I'm building, I have this gearbox. This has the small drive shaft, small gears. There is a gear in here that is basically just like the gear for the Jeep or the Land Rover, for for that normal transmission. You can swap that gear out also and put that gear in here to drop it down to the smaller drive shaft in the P01 chassis. You don't have to use that. If you're building one from leftover parts or whatever, or buying new parts and building it piece by piece, I literally bought everything for that green Jeep one part at a time. The axles were a purchase, the wheels were a purchase. Those are WL Toys wheels, and pricey. The luggage rack on the roof, that was one purchase. The light was another single purchase. The bumpers were a single purchase. The chassis pieces were all individually purchased. I spent a lot of money buying that because I didn't have the budget to spend at the time all at once. and I ended up spending probably well over $100 more purchasing it one part at a time, or one, assembly piece at a time. Yeah. So, but what I'm getting at is you can kind of mix and match and swap gears around and stuff and axles and get these to do just fine. It's like, right now I've got the P01 axle underneath the back of the Tundra, and I will be connecting it. I just got to get another drive shaft half that's long enough, or adapt it, which I can stretch it with. This truck's not going to be fast, even though it's got the 3,000 RPM motor in it. Right now, I'm going to swap that out, but I just have to get a different drive shaft for it. I might actually switch it out later on. I don't know. The whole rear axle. But you can adapt these drive shafts. You can change out gears. You can't change the gears inside the P01 stock axles to the gears that are in, like, these axles, the Jeep axles or the X01 axles. There's just no way to do it. They're a complete different assembly, which is, and they're bulky, they're thick. They have low ground clearance. That's why I don't really like the stock axles that come with the P01. They're just bulky, and no, these little trucks, I've bashed my Jeeps and my crawlers on gravel outside, and they get hung up. They need more clearance. P01 axles just aren't going to do it. So I've seen some videos. There are very few videos that I've seen where people have got this aluminum chassis, and that's why I'm doing this and explaining. Most of the videos where the people do, well, all of them, I haven't found anywhere anybody's explaining anything. The videos that I've found are just people driving them around. And if they have the upgrade chassis but are still using the stock axles, it drags. It gets stuck. And the tires just spin, and it just sits there and spins and spins and spins, and then finally it'll take off. And it makes more sense to me to go to the upgrade axles or X01 axles or something like that. It'll perform better. Which, I mean, this aluminum chassis, if you go all of the upgrade stuff, it's absolutely gorgeous. I've seen plenty of pictures on Tiny 4x4 and several other websites, and I've been wanting it for a long time. And the limit of information about it on YouTube videos, there's just hardly anything there. So figured I'd go through and explain some things about it. I'm not going to get into all the measurements and everything. That's all on other websites you can check out, but I just wanted to call it out and let everybody know the drive shaft size differences. These axles and the aftermarket axles, or not aftermarket, but aluminum axles and aluminum chassis, the drive shafts will made up small drive shaft, pinion hole measurement, and you won't really have to do anything. Just get the drive shafts for the small diameter gears, pinions, whatever. And if you have the stock P01 chassis and you want to upgrade axles, you can swap that gear out right there and go with the smaller one. You'll have to swap the gear and the bearings. So kind of simplify that, help anybody out that's trying to do it. So yep, that's all I got really to say. I just wanted to throw that out there because it's going to be a while before I get parts, so I'm just kind of going through all this stuff and looking, and I'm not in no rush at all. Got other things to do. single dad stuff. But yep, I'm gonna paint it black, the Raptor. It is gonna be all black. I have an idea in my head how I want it to look, and that's just once I go with the color scheme, that's just how it is. I'm not going to back out and change it to a different one. It's like my tow truck. I had these old Chrysler spray paints that my dad had, and I used them. It's they're actual Chrysler paints for a Jeep that he used to have, or a truck. I think it was a Dodge truck actually, but that's the paints I used on that. That's actually brown on the roof. So yeah, there's more stuff I'm wanting to get for this. Not just tires and wheels. I want to get the roll bar with the lights. I'd like to get the upgrade bumper for the front with the lights in it. I have made my decision. I am going to D4L this. I'm going to N30 motor it with probably a 1000 RPM gearbox, and I'll do the full lights, and I might do something else on it. I've had an idea for something to add more lights to it, so I'm thinking about that. It depends on how everything goes once I get the D4L and get everything else done to it the way I like. But yeah, I have an idea to get a few extra lights in it. I say few, but there's more than just a few I could go. But yeah, I'm gonna shut up now. I hope this helped anyone that's. I mean, I know this has been out for a long time, and I know there's lots of them out there, but I know there's some people that aren't sure, and probably some that don't even know that the aluminum chassis is a complete different animal than this one. So I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the comments, the likes. It all helps out. It all motivates me to do more and figure out different things with them. I mean, if it wasn't for the views and the likes and the comments, I would have never came up with this. So that's handmade carbon fiber chassis. This will be a brushless. There's only one website now that I can find that transmission on, that transfer case motor mount thing. So you have to search on YouTube. I said YouTube, on Google, on the internet, to find that thing. I don't know. It's actually red anodized when you get it, but it's kind of a, when I got mine, it was more of a pink color, so I stripped the anodize off. That's the Tundra rear axle, widened Jeep axle. I put the front and rear Jeep axles together to make the widened axle, which is actually, it's not much, but it's wider than the stock X01 axle, just by a little. Oh wait, no, I am sitting here making a mistake. This is not my widened axle. My widened axle's in my tow truck. My widened axle's in my tow truck. I have to flip my tow truck upside down to show it. Or do I? No, I don't. That is my widened axle. Yeah. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount, but it is wider. You can't really tell it on camera, but yeah. I apologize for that. So I'm gonna shut up now before I stumble on more stuff. I can hear my dog at my door wanting to go outside. So every night, that's what woke me up, dog and cat. Yeah, thanks for watching.